Some animals live where a human would die almost immediately. No sunlight, crushing pressure, air that freezes exposed skin, water so salty that most fish cannot survive, caves where morning has never arrived, and volcanic cracks on the ocean floor releasing fluids hot enough to destroy ordinary tissue. Yet these places are not empty wastelands. They contain hunters, grazers, scavengers, parents, competitors, and entire food webs. Evolution did not make these environments comfortable. It changed the animals until impossible became home. And the strangest part is not simply that they survive. It is what they had to become to do it. Start by sinking into the deep ocean. At first, the sea still looks familiar. Blue water, moving shadows, sunlight filtering downward. Then the light begins disappearing. Below roughly 1,000 meters, sunlight is essentially absent. Photosynthesis cannot power the local ecosystem directly. Pressure keeps increasing with every meter of descent. Several kilometers down, the pressure is hundreds of times greater than at sea level. For us, this sounds like an engineering problem. For deep-sea animals, it is Tuesday. Consider the anglerfish. In darkness, chasing prey over long distances can waste precious energy. So some anglerfish use a glowing lure positioned near the mouth. The light comes from bioluminescent systems, sometimes involving symbiotic bacteria. To a smaller animal, that glow can resemble something worth investigating. It approaches. The enormous mouth suddenly becomes the important part of the story. Deep-sea animals often follow one brutal economic rule: do not waste energy. Food can be unpredictable, so many species grow slowly, move efficiently, or possess mouths and stomachs capable of handling unusually large meals. Down here, being picky is expensive. Now travel in the opposite direction. Leave the water and enter a desert. The challenge changes completely. Instead of too much pressure, there is too little water. Daytime heat can become extreme. Rain may be rare. Shade can mean survival. The fennec fox looks almost comically over-equipped with ears. But those ears are useful. Their large surface area helps release body heat, while the fox also avoids the worst daytime temperatures by resting in burrows. Then there is the kangaroo rat. This small desert rodent can survive with remarkably little free water. Its kidneys produce highly concentrated urine, reducing water loss. Much of the water it needs can come from metabolism and food. Even its lifestyle helps. It hides underground during the hottest hours and emerges when temperatures fall. The desert lesson is simple. Sometimes survival does not require finding more water. It requires becoming incredibly difficult to dehydrate. Now keep traveling north until sand becomes ice. The Arctic attacks animals with the opposite problem. Heat is no longer something to lose. It is treasure. Arctic mammals rely heavily on insulation. Polar bears carry dense fur and substantial body fat. Arctic foxes have exceptionally insulating coats and compact bodies that reduce exposed surface area. Even behavior becomes part of the thermal system. Animals shelter from wind, curl tightly while resting, or use snow itself as insulation. That sounds strange. Snow is cold. But trapped air inside snow can protect animals from even colder temperatures above it. For some Arctic creatures, diving beneath snow is less like entering a freezer and more like closing the door. Then comes another problem: seasons. Food availability can change dramatically across the year. Some animals migrate, others store food, others reduce their activity or metabolism. The Arctic does not reward one perfect adaptation. It rewards combinations. Insulation helps until you need food. Camouflage helps until the season changes. Energy conservation helps until you must escape a predator. Every advantage comes with a bill. Now imagine a world where seasons do not matter because sunlight never arrives. Enter a deep cave. Walk far enough from the entrance, and plants disappear. No photosynthesis means very little energy enters the ecosystem locally. Food may arrive through water, falling debris, animal waste, or creatures traveling between the surface and underground. For permanent cave residents, every calorie matters. And evolution begins removing equipment that no longer pays rent. Many cave-adapted animals lose pigmentation. Some lose functional eyes. That may sound like degeneration. It is really specialization. Eyes require energy to develop and maintain. In permanent darkness, vision provides little advantage. Other senses become more important. Cave animals may depend heavily on touch, smell, water movement, or vibration. Some develop elongated antennae, or limbs, that help explore their surroundings. A cavefish does not need to see the wall. It needs to detect the wall. True cave specialists, known as troglobites, can spend their entire lives underground. Loss of eyes and pigmentation, along with elongated appendages, are common adaptations among some groups. And hunger may shape them just as strongly as darkness. When meals arrive unpredictably, patience becomes biology. Now leave the cave and jump into water that creates another problem. Salt. Hypersaline lakes contain salt concentrations far beyond typical freshwater environments. Most aquatic animals cannot simply move into them. Their cells must constantly manage the movement of water and dissolved ions. Yet brine shrimp thrive in famously salty systems, such as Utah's Great Salt Lake. They possess physiological mechanisms that regulate salt and water balance. And because many fish cannot tolerate those conditions, brine shrimp can occupy an environment with fewer aquatic predators. That does not make life easy. Salinity can shift as water levels change. Too much salt can eventually become harmful even for specialists. At Great Salt Lake, saline-tolerant algae support brine shrimp and brine flies, which then become critical food for enormous numbers of birds. So, an ecosystem that looks nearly empty from shore can actually function like a biological fuel station. But we have saved one of Earth's strangest neighborhoods for last. Return to the deep ocean. Find a crack in the seafloor. Now watch black, mineral-rich fluid erupt upward. These are hydrothermal vents. There is no sunlight here, yet entire communities cluster around them. For centuries, biology textbooks emphasized a familiar equation. Sunlight feeds plants. Plants support animals. But vent ecosystems revealed another route. Chemosynthesis. Microorganisms can obtain energy from chemicals such as hydrogen sulfide instead of sunlight. That chemical energy becomes the foundation of a food web. Giant tube worms take this partnership to an extraordinary level. Adults lack a conventional mouth and digestive system. Instead, they house symbiotic bacteria inside their bodies. The animal supplies chemicals to the bacteria. The bacteria manufacture organic compounds. The worm gets fed without hunting, grazing, or swallowing lunch. Nearby, clams, mussels, shrimp, crabs, snails, fish, and other organisms exploit this chemically powered oasis. It is almost like discovering a city running on a completely different electrical grid. And the environment is not gentle. Vent fluids can be extremely hot and chemically hostile. Surrounding seawater remains cold. Temperatures can change dramatically across very short distances. The animals survive by occupying specific zones around the vent, rather than casually swimming through the hottest fluid. Even more remarkably, researchers have found animal communities extending into cavities beneath hydrothermal vent surfaces, expanding what we know about where vent life can exist. This is the payoff. Animals do not survive impossible environments by defeating physics. They survive by obeying physics better than almost anything else. A desert animal controls water. An Arctic animal protects heat. A cave animal stops investing heavily in sight. A hypersaline specialist manages salt. A deep-sea predator treats energy like currency. And a tube worm effectively outsources digestion to bacteria. None of these animals decided to adapt. Across generations, individuals with traits better suited to local conditions left more descendants. Tiny advantages accumulated. Bodies changed. Behaviors changed. Entire ecosystems changed. Eventually, the place that looks lethal to us became ordinary to them. That may be the most fascinating thing about extreme life. There is no single definition of a good habitat. To us, a freezing ocean, burning desert, lightless cave, hypersaline lake, or toxic vent seems hostile. To the right animal, it is home. Life does not require the world to become easier. Given enough generations and the right evolutionary pathways, life can become astonishingly good at dealing with the world exactly as it is.